will go, I shall go to see that the end of these. One.
28 Minutes or Less podcast with S. Foster.
Battle to win.
28 minutes. 28 minutes. S. Foster. S. Foster.
What's good, people? It's your boy S. Foster back for another episode of 28 Minutes or Less. And this is episode 75 of the podcast. And I got a very special guest on with me. I think this is the first time you've been on 28 Minutes or Less. You've been on Viewers Anonymous with me and Scoots. You've been on the Stolen Time podcast. I had to retire the Stolen Time podcast because rest in peace to Uncle Washington. But I believe it's the first time you've been on 28 Minutes or Less. I got my cousin Brandon Foster, you know what I'm saying, be in the building, man. How you feeling, cuz?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. Feeling wonderful.
That's what's up, man. I needed something because even though Scoots is really good at this as well, but you know what I'm saying, you like my comedy of reinforcements, man. I know how much you be loving doing the comedy movies, man. We did plenty of comedy episodes, and man, we got a great one today. But before we get into it, man, I just wanted to, because I always like to share something, personal for the fanfare that I have for this podcast. And like when it come to you, B, like I remember when I first started the podcast, and like nobody really knew what it was. I barely even knew what it was.
Yeah.
And so like, but the one thing that you always did and you still do to this day, and what makes it great for me is the fact that it's someone in my family. Because like I don't really have a lot of support to this podcast when it comes to family. Uncle Washington was a part of it, so
Right.
you know what I mean. It can't really count him because he's, what I'm saying, he was a part of it. But
Right.
like you'd be like, you just hit me up, yo, how the podcast doing? You know what I'm saying? Like just a little question like that, because I really didn't have anybody else to talk to about it. And like you would always ask how it's doing, and you'd be like, yo, you know what I'm saying, you need to have me on, man. I'll jump on when you want me to come. And like, man, just for you to do that, man, just to ask the question, like how the podcast is going, man.
Right.
It means a lot. It means a lot, cuz, and that you're always willing to jump on, even though you're not necessarily a podcaster. But yeah, I just want to say I appreciate that, man, for always supporting and saying, yo, you know what I'm saying? Look, it's gonna take off, man. Give it time. Just always having that encouragement from you, always been a huge thing for me.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I think for me as anybody that's, especially us as Black African Americans, especially, in which you don't really get a lot of, is your people encouraging you to do better on that. But I'm just that type of person, man. Like, whatever it is, man, whether it's whether you're going for entrepreneurship, whether it's a nonprofit, or such as yourself, podcasting and stuff, man. Hey, I salute, but I salute you. Anybody, and whatever they got going on, whatever they're doing, man. We just gotta encourage each other, man. We gotta continue to be that support for one another, because in anything you do, man, you get to that place to where you get fatigued, you get to a place where you just like, man, I don't know if this working, or who getting it, or whatever it is you're doing. But hey, I support, man. Hey, I just like to be that person, just encourage, man, people to just keep going, man. Whatever it is you got going on, just keep at it. Eventually it'll take off, man. And so, that's just me. That's just how I am.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And I love it, man. Like, if you doing what you doing, I mean, like you'll call me, you'll hit me up. I'll be like, yo, how you need detailing? You know what I'm saying? And like when you tell me business is booming, like, hey, that's what's up, man. I love to hear that, man. I love to see you continuously promote on your Facebook page. You know, all the new clients that you get and all that type stuff, man. You do a great job, you know, and you know, I don't know if they still do it, but I know I bought you a few customers. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, yo, like when you see somebody like you said, like young entrepreneurship, like doing what you're doing and the vision that you have, I
Right.
think that that's the first most important thing is the vision. Like you got to have a dream, whether you're dreaming while you sleeping or you daydreaming of like, yo, this is what I want this to happen. This is how I want this to go down. Like, and this is something going all the way back because people don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Unique detailing go all the way back to, you know what I'm saying, early 90s, when we used to be at 202 Hampton Road, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
busting them suds on these
Yeah.
cars. You know what I'm saying? And for you to take it now to like, yo, like I got a, you know what I'm saying, a skill of doing this. I'm gonna get all the professional things that I need, and I'm gonna knock this stuff out, man. So I just want to say publicly again that I'm proud of you, of everything that you've done, the mindset that you have. Like I know one day you called me when I was at work, and you was at work, and we talked about 2 hours, just talking about
Oh,
we just talking about money and like, you know what I'm saying, and this and credit and all this type of stuff, just to see the growth that both of us have had. You know what I'm saying? We talked about that day, like how we grew up. Like this is how we grew up. We didn't have, you know, financial people in our life. Like we was raised, yo, don't get a credit card. Credit cards are bad. You know what I mean? And it's just like, nah, it really ain't. You know,
yeah.
and so, you know, for you to change your mindset and to be in these different rooms and being around different people and just the way that you're thinking, man, I just want to say that I'm proud of you, man.
Oh man, appreciate it. Hey, same as you, man. Like I said, we talked. I mean, before we knew it, man, we was talking for like 2 hours. And I was like, nah, I said, man, we've been talking for like 2 hours. But it was good conversation though, And
Yep.
iron sharpen iron, and that's how I look at it. You put me on stuff I didn't know. I put you on stuff you didn't know, and that's just how it is. But I always, what I've learned is you always surround yourself by people that's doing it bigger and better. And that's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you develop those mindsets of being around people that's doing it bigger and better than you. And you just learn. When you come in the vicinity of people like that, the 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 thing of it is, hey, just be quiet and listen
Yep.
and just observe, grab all the knowledge you can grab, man, and then just come out here and apply it to your life and make it happen.
Man, you are definitely right, man. So what I'm gonna do, man, like one of the reasons why we even set this up, man, the subject matter today, people, is if you saw the title, there is a Amazon Prime documentary, 3-part documentary out. It came out a couple of weeks ago. It's called Fat Tuesday. I think it was the era of hip hop comedy.
Right.
And you called me one day and you was just like, yo, man, have you seen Fat Tuesday? And I was like, yo, I seen that. I said, listen, you gotta get on the pod, yo. Like I was like, let's not even talk about it. We gotta get on the pod. And like, man, to see the revolution of what comedy did in the late 80s to mid 90s and all of the things that happened in this documentary, man, it is just great, man. A huge salute to Joe Torre. But what I'm gonna ask you, cuz, is like, what was your first initial thought when you finished the 3 episodes of Fat Tuesday?
Man, it was a lot because, like I said, uh, we grew up thinking that, oh man, all these comedians came out of Def Jam. And so when I saw that Joe Torre was it's Guy Torre, right?
Yeah,
Guy
Guy
Torre.
Torre, yeah.
That he set that stage for them, man. It was like, man, like me and my wife was just sitting there, man, and we just we looked at all 3 episodes back to back, and I was like, man, I just couldn't believe it. That you just wouldn't have thought like, man, so that's where everybody came from. And you be like, man, I mean, it was amazing to me. I stuck to the chill, man. I didn't move. I looked at all 3 episodes, man. It was just crazy.
Dude, I was the same way, and I came across it not even really looking for it, man. I was just, I'm a huge content, what I'm saying, watcher, man. So I was like, I haven't been on Amazon Prime in a while. So I clicked on Amazon Prime, and I'm clicking through the Prime originals, and I see Fat Tuesday. I'm like, oh snap. I was like, all right, let me watch this.
Yeah,
And to, like you said, you know, us being in South Carolina, we already behind anyway.
right.
So we seeing HBO, we seeing Def Comedy Jam, and we like, oh snap! So we thinking Def Comedy Jam is like where it's at, which it is. Like Def
Yeah,
Comedy Jam was like the first place where we were able to watch black comedians that related to us. Like
right.
like not that white comedians aren't funny. It's just that there are some things just in the black community that we get. It's like, yo, like that's happened to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that type stuff. So we thinking Def Comedy Jam is where it started, but in all actuality, it really started with Robin Williams. I'm not Robin Williams, Robin Harris.
right.
And the funny thing about Robin Harris is like me and you look, what I'm saying? We go straight to house party. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And like, and he pops to me. You know what I'm saying? Even though he was in Harlem Nights, but he had a small,
yeah,
role in Harlem Nights. He didn't say much in Harlem Nights. But
right.
like, so the first thing I think of Robin Harris is Pops. And it's crazy to think that this dude, and I'm not trying to make fun of him right here, but when I see it, it was just funny. Okay, now the first part ain't funny. I hate that he passed away. For number one,
Right.
he passed away at 36. But think about it, dude. This dude passed away at 36, and
Yeah,
he had a high school student. That's funny.
but the thing about it, man, what was really mind blowing to me was his age. He
Yeah,
didn't look his age. I could have
look,
sworn up and down this man was every bit of like mid
fit.
40s, late 40s. And when they said 36, I said, man, you gotta be kidding me. He was 36.
Yeah, he did not look his age at
No,
all. Like 36, because it was shocking to me. I was like 36. I was like,
yeah,
and the first thing that crossed my mind, and look, rest in peace to him. He was a
yeah,
great comedian, but he would, what I'm saying, he would appreciate this. But like, dude, you had a 17, 18-year-old, and you were 36, and you was the dad. Like, you had that boy when you was 8. Like,
yeah,
like this is crazy. But he had an old soul though. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like it, but I didn't know like the foundation. Tommy Davidson said it perfect. He was like Robin Harris was the backbone to comedy because he used to work at the Comedy Store, and the Comedy Store was a white club, and
right,
the appointed person at that time they said it was John Witherspoon. So John Witherspoon was like the only like black comic that they had, and they would let Paul Mooney come on at the end. So
right,
like those was really the only two people, and they would like kind of sprinkle in Robin Harris, and Robin Harris was like, "Yo, you know what? Because the Comedy Store was in Beverly Hills, so he just went to the comedy what they called it. He had went to I forget what they call that comedy club. It'll come to me in a second. But so he goes to the black side of town, and they
hmm,
let him host. I think it was a comedy jar,
yeah,
and so he's hosting that, and like he's doing his whole bit on Bebe's Kids. You know
right,
what I'm saying? Yo, Bebe's Kids is one of those movies where it's just like, yo, if you black and you ain't seen Baby Kids, don't even
yeah,
talk to me, man.
yeah,
like, don't even talk to me, yo. Like your mama didn't raise you right, man. You ain't seen Baby Kids, man.
Yeah, because that was in our time. That was when we was coming up. That was when we was little kids looking at that. Man,
And,
it was funny, man. Like that was just the funniest stuff ever. I was like, dang, this is funny, like real funny.
and what I thought that the one guy that did the movie, he was like, what we thought was great was to do it animated because he was like, people can grow up with it, and I
Right,
think that was a great idea to do it that way because even as us being grown-ups, we can go back and watch Baby Kids and we can like relive our childhood. And it's like it's one of those movies that'll never get old. Like those jokes never get old. Like they're just as funny as it was back then as it is now. And
right,
like I was looking at it and Robert Harris just had this thing about him, man. Like he in the bit he was saying, he said, man, I hate my wife. He was like, I hate her. He said, man, he said, I wore my ring on the wrong finger because I married the wrong woman. I was just fucking stupid, man. But like the whole baby age kid thing, man, and him being a house party. I mean, like what I remember the most about house party is like, cause you know, me and you the same way. We watching something that we done seen 100 times. Oh yeah, we talking along with it. You
oh
know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like that's just what it is.
yeah,
And like and Robert Williams, he had all the requotable moments, man. Like
yeah,
everything he said, like he never disappointed every time he was on screen, man, when it came to house party. So I love to see the fact that they singled out a segment for Robin Harris and to say that, yo, none of this stuff would have been possible. Even when they transitioned into Joe Torre, Joe was like, yo, I spent a year with Robin Harris and I learned everything from him.
right,
And I love how they was able to do that, man, because Robin Harris is one of those comedians that we forget about, and it's because he died so young.
yeah. He did, man. He really did. And I mean, I'm like, man, and I just when they said his age, I really couldn't. I was like, man, 36, died at 36. I was like, man, I said, man, he was young, man. I said, but he did look his age, and like you said, he had an old soul, and I guess that's what made him look old or made him act old because he had that old soul. And I was like, man, but like you said, like yeah, he was doing it really kick that thing off.
Yeah, man, definitely. And you know another thing that's wild about and you know I'm a history guy. I love watching a lot of old things, and it seemed like we can't escape. It's like people don't understand. Now there's a whole bunch of different movies, documentaries, everything about the whole Rodney King era.
Right,
And it's like no matter what you're doing, it's like 1991, like Rodney King and the verdict of Rodney King changed everything. It really flipped America because that was the first time because black people been talking forever. Yo, man, the police is beating us up. They're beating us down. People coming up missing. Like they're in rap songs. Man, even Marvin Gaye was talking about this stuff. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Back in the 70s, back in the 60s. And like everybody like, oh, you know, black people lying. That's not what's going on. And like this was the first time it was captured on film of a black man get beat down by the cops excessively.
right.
So the reason I bring this up, if y'all have not seen Fat Tuesday, is the fact of when Robin Williams went to the, if I'm not mistaken, the Comedy Jar, it was in the black neighborhood. So
Yeah,
it's all the drug dealers in there, the celebrities, everybody's going in there because, like I said, the Comedy Store really wasn't a black club.
right,
So you had to go to the black neighborhood to see the black comedians. And when the verdict came down on the four cops of not guilty, which is back then it's shocking, but now it's like, look, it's just life. You know what I'm saying? We expect, oh yeah, you know, George Floyd, you know, all these people, Oh,
Yeah,
not guilty. Like we gonna assume that the cop is gonna get off now. But back then in '91, that was the first time it was caught on film. So they're like, oh, they got these dudes.
yeah,
So when it came through not guilty, then all the riots start, the looting starts, and all that stuff. But what they
yeah.
didn't expect to happen was that comedy club was going to be affected because it was in the black neighborhood that they just basically burnt down. So now the comedy club that was left behind by Robin Williams and Joe Torre, it's not as profitable anymore because the whole neighborhood been burnt down.
Right.
So I just felt that it was needed, and to think that someone that was the little brother, because like Joe was very popular at the time.
Yeah.
Everybody knew who Joe Torre was. His brother came in from St. Louis. They didn't know. Like, even Joe was like, I never looked at you as funny. Like I didn't even know you was even trying to be a comedian. And so he comes down and he has this whole different mindset of being focused. And
Right.
I'm gonna tell you something that I did not know. That the one episode of Martin that just everybody just seems to remember is the one episode when they went on vacation and that and that hamster thing, whatever that thing was. Hey, I did not know Joe Torre was the one who wrote that whole episode, yo.
I didn't either.
Like that was one of the best episodes of Martin.
Yeah, I did not know that. I did not
And
know.
so the whole like the information that we're getting from this documentary, like it gives you that whole different this mindset like of when you're looking at it, because like when I think of Guy Torre, I don't like he's funny, but like I've
Yeah.
only really seen Guy Torre in guest spots and
Yeah.
movies. He was in Life, but he didn't really have a lot of words in Life.
Right.
So you don't really think of Joe Torre. I mean, Guy Torre even being this guy, but he has I think that Martin episode gave him the freedom of like when he went to the Comedy Store
Mhm.
and they was just like, yo, this is what we'll do. We'll give you a night in the belly room, which only seated 89 people, and they were like, we're gonna give you 1 month.
Yeah. To see what you got.
But
And that
1 month?
and that thing took off though, man. Like I was amazed at that, but he was so different from his brother though, man. Like Gator was just so different from his brother. Like it was to the point that they didn't even really get along. Like
Oh yeah.
they argue every time, like all the time, because Gator was punctual with his time, versus Joe Torre. He just showed up when he felt like showing up. Like, but the thing about it though, I know there had to be something though, because it's like, man, I brought my little brother down here. He's staying with me and everything. I let him crash in my crib, everything. And he turned out to really be a bigger person than his older Gator ended up being a bigger person, becoming more big and more successful, well, more big and more noticeable than Joe Torre. And I'm like, damn, but I said, but them two were just night and day, man. Like, you know, like you said, Gator was just focused. Man. He was really focusing on what he was doing.
Yeah,
Versus
like he
was just like, man, whatever, like I'm good. I done did this movie, I done did this, I done did that.
that's just like when he told the story of when he saw Janet Jackson titty.
Yeah,
And and he was like, yo, it just popped out. And so he was like, Janet invited him to a party.
right.
And so Joe, like, yo, what I'm saying, Janet wants you to come to this party. He's like, what time is it? And he told him, He's like, yo, I just wrote these 3 jokes down, man. I gotta go work these jokes out. He was like, yo, Janet Jackson invited you to a party. Like, if
Right.
Janet invited you to a party, you come. But he said that's when he realized, oh, my brother's serious.
Yeah.
My brother, he really serious. But I get what Joe, cause see, I think that's where one of their biggest disconnect like kind of started. Because
Yeah.
Joe looked at it like, yo, you about to be in rooms with people that you've never been in rooms with. And he was
Right.
like, Janet can get you a role. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But it's like Joe understood it, but he just looked at it from his point of view. Because his point of view is like, you're gonna be around people that can give you opportunities. But
Right.
Guy looked at it like, yo, I got these 3 jokes. I need to work this.
Right.
And even though we hyping up Guy, none of this would be possible without Joe as well. Because
Yeah.
yeah, it's his brother, but a lot of people still won't let their brothers crash on their couch for free. You know what I'm saying? But he said, yo, as long as you hitting those stages, you can stay with me as long as you want for free. But I
Right.
think that with it's when it comes to comedy, man, it's all about who you know. And because of the relationship that Joe already had with Joe being close to Robin Harris, and then like all the comedians that he was hooking up, Guy was able to take those relationships and skyrocket with it.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, and when you watch this documentary, I mean, like when you think about comedy in the late 80s and 90s, like Guy Torrey and Joe Torrey had a relationship with all of them. I mean, when you're talking about the Bill Bellamy's, the Chris Rocks, Chris Rock really didn't do it. He kind of already was kind of up there because Chris Rock and Eddie Murphy, like they was already like on,
Yeah.
so they didn't really need Fat Tuesday, but the Nick Cannons, uh uh the Martin Lawrence, because Martin, like it was everybody, and to think that Russell Simmons and I forget my man first name, Lathan, they went to the Comedy Store and they just started plucking everybody from the Comedy Store. Like, yo, we ain't got no script, we ain't got nothing. All we know is we filming, and we calling the thing a Def Comedy Jam, and all y'all just come down here. And it's just like they went to one spot and got all the black comedians and put together one of the greatest shows, where the greatest collection of talent.
Yeah.
All that collection of talent, like you said in the beginning of the show, came from something that Guy Torrey put together for one night on a Tuesday night in LA. All that stuff came and it made Def Comedy Jam.
But the thing about it though, I noticed too that one night paid did better than all the other nights that it was open. Like that one night, that man, the owner said it paid my rent. Like that one night paid my rent for the whole
Yeah.
entire.
He said that that guy said that, yo, we would have closed down years ago. And he was like, Fat Tuesday kept my club open. Because he was like, if I'm not mistaken, he was saying something about I was gonna close it down, but Fat Tuesday saved my club. He was like, I was able to keep my club open only because of that, and it was so successful in that 1 month, that one February, in that little room that they said that the fire marshal told us 89 people, but that lady said, yo, we filled this room out. And like even Donnell said, hey, listen, I love Donnell. Donnell's a clown. Donnell said, yo, he said you got to get people lap dances to get to the other side of the room, because they was so tight. They were patting in there like sardines, man. And so it got so big, they was like, yo, we're gonna give you the main room
Yeah,
because like the money you're making in just this tiny little part of our club. Well, I'm saying we'll put you on the main stage, and that should double our money, and it doubled his money.
yeah,
And But this is the thing though, B, and man, this is one of the main reasons why I want to talk to you. The crazy thing is that so they was talking to like film directors, and they was like, "Yo, like look at the talent and the way that black films and black comedians took off in the '90s when it came to like Chris Tucker said, "Yo, I got Friday from coming here on a Fat Tuesday."
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
because the thing about it, Guy Tori was like connecting them brothers, man. Like, hey, listen, I got, I got what you call them gonna be here, man. Look, I'm gonna give you, give you your time on the stage to do your thing, man. And it was just like boom, they were just connected, boom, boom. Cause like you said, it was a lot of people there looking for talent. And so they would come to Fat Tuesdays and get their talent. A lot of those film directors and all these people, hey man, yeah, boom, yeah, get on, let's link up, do this, do that, and I'm like, man, that was the craziest thing, man, that, Guy Tori wasn't selfish, man. He made sure, like, hey, I'm gonna put you on, man. This person gonna be in the building, man. I'm gonna have this person in the building. Hey, you get on the stage, do your thing, man. And they were just connected. They were just boom, because that's where everybody would come. Fat Tuesdays, get their talent, man. Or, yeah, I'm gonna get you starring in the movie. What you think about starring in this, starring in that? And that was just like it just catapulted from them.
dude, I am so glad you said that word. How unselfish to think about a guy that came in, already being in the shadow of his big brother who already got steam to
Yeah,
be like, yo, my main thing is I want to put people on. And it's not a lot of people who have that mentality. There's some people that's like, yo, I'm trying to get my cell phone. And once I get my cell phone, my main priority is me.
yeah,
Guy is like, yo, my whole thing is I want, Tommy Davidson to shine. I want Chris Tucker to shine. I want Dave Chappelle to shine, JB Smooth to shine. And not even just that. And another thing that's great about Guy Tori is the fact that they said that and they brought one film director on. They was like, there was at least one woman every Tuesday that I came. She was like, that didn't happen at
yeah,
any other comedy clubs. Guy was like, he was so before his time. He was like, yo, these black women comedians ain't got nowhere to express their talent. He was like, black women funny too.
yeah,
So he's like, yo, I'm gonna make sure every Tuesday I'm gonna have a woman to come up here and show off her talent as well. And
yeah,
it's just like to be so ahead of your time to not only do that, but to also bring a transgender woman on.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know how progressive that was in the 90s? The
yeah,
90s.
yeah. Like, yeah. I mean, you be like, man, like, and I mean, think about it. When he brought Nick Cannon in, Nick Cannon wasn't even old enough to even be in this spot.
Yep.
He brought Nick Cannon through the back door. Like Nick Cannon wasn't even old enough to even be there. He wasn't even supposed to be there. Like, period. He was not. Tiffany Haddish, like they was not supposed to be there. Like these kids, man. And he brought them in through the door. And Nick Cannon said it. Nick Cannon said, listen, man. He said, God Torrey is my angel, man. He said, I wouldn't be in the position I am in right now if it wasn't for that dude.
Man, it's a lot of comedians that wouldn't be where they are right now if it wasn't for Guy Tori, like opening the door for all these people and being as progressive as he was. Like he's got to be like it, and I'm glad that they made this and I watched this because I
Yeah.
didn't know how significant Guy Tory and really the Tory brothers. I didn't know how significant they was in the comedy game because you think of the Martins, you know what I'm saying, the Dave Chappelle's and like all the stuff that they're doing now. And like, the reason I don't say Eddie Murphy, because Eddie Murphy was already on. Like he was on Saturday Night Live. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So he was already on. But like these other comedians, they didn't have that way to because like even Richard Pryor, like he already was, he
Yeah.
was already on, and Bill Cosby and all those people, like they was already on. But like like somebody like Anthony Hamilton, said the entertainer, like
Yeah.
everybody was doing okay in their city, but like LA, let's just face it, LA is where it's at. That's where the movie
Yeah.
directors are. That's what
Yeah.
Hollywood is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that even Chris Tucker said, "Yo, I'm doing my thing in Atlanta. It's not really moving." He said, "Yo, I had a ticket, a one-way ticket, like just get me to Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? Just get me to Hollywood." And because he heard about Fat Tuesday, and he was like, "Yo, let me do Fat Tuesday." And he was like, "Yo," and I got a roll from it. And from Friday, he skyrocketed.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like, and it's also great to see that someone who gave out that olive branch for people to be like, "Yo, it's all because of Joe Torre." I mean,
Yeah.
Guy Torre. Like, if it wasn't for Guy, like I wouldn't be doing this. And then for Martin to see what he was doing, because Martin was enough. Like, just think about all of the show, and they showed this in the documentary from from Fat Tuesday. This is okay. This is S. Foster talking here. You
Mhm.
got the Martin show. You got Friday. You got Fresh Prince of Bel Air. You got like all of these. The Jamie Foxx, like all of these shows that we was watching
Mhm.
that wasn't the Wayans because Keenan had his own thing.
Yeah.
Keenan, he's another innovator, and he brought a lot of people on as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But like,
Everybody will live in color.
yeah, like what he did with A Living Color, and but like, I, it, I'm still in amazement of like, yo, like, yeah, I've seen Guy Tori all over the place, but I just never really knew how significant he was to the game of comedy, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man, and he deserved his flowers, man.
Oh yeah. You got to give it to him. Like I said, man. Trust me, man. When I sat there and looked at all three seasons back to back, my butt was planted in that seat, and I was like, man, you gotta be kidding me. And I'm like, I never knew, like, man, like God Tory put people on, but like he was putting people in the game. And I'm glad it came out because we would have never known because like I said, when me and you was coming up, we just saw Def Comedy Jam. That's what
Yep.
we thought. They put everybody in the game. Def Comedy Jam put everybody in the game. But then when they came out with Fat Tuesday, and I was like you, I was just on Prime looking, and I'm like, man, Fat Tuesday, what this about? Boom, click. I was like, oh my God, man. I'm glad I sat here and clicked on. You just didn't know. You just thought, like I said, from my era, you just thought, hey, yeah, Def Comedy Jam put everybody on. But to really be honest, Fat Tuesdays did that. Fat Tuesday, Guy Torre, first, like you said, it started with Robin Harris, and then Guy Torre came in and really just took that thing to a whole nother level. And I'm like, man, I was like, this is crazy, man. Like, I just wouldn't have never thought, but, you know, I'm like, man, I'm glad I actually seen this documentary because, nobody, I'm pretty sure before this even came out, nobody knew. Nobody had an idea, unless you was in that era. But,
Yeah.
for us coming up, we was just like, hey, yo, man, Def Comedy Jam, but Def Comedy Jam put a lot of people on, but really, Fat Tuesdays did that. And like you said, Russell Simmons and the other guy came in the Fat Tuesdays and said, hey, listen, we got this going on, boom, boom, boom. Y'all come on through, you know. But but that's history. To me, that's
Yeah.
history. That is history. And I'm like, man, because they did a little segment of the riot, what had went down for us on LA where people was trashing, man, and just tearing up stuff and all that. But I mean, and it was just crazy. Like you were like, dang, man, there's a lot of people came out of that little night, out of that little comedy club, man. And that's doing their thing, man. They starring in movies and got their own shows like Steve Harvey, all them cats, man. I was like, this some wild and crazy stuff, man.
Yeah, man. I forgot to mention Steve Harvey, man, cause man, we used to watch all those shows back in the day, man. Like Martin, Steve Harvey, the Steve Harvey Show, Prince of Bel Air, the Jamie Foxx Show.
Yeah,
Then the Wayne brothers, they got a show. Like
yeah,
you can't find that nowhere now. You only find that on BET now. Like it ain't nowhere else. Like they was on network stations. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like they wasn't just on the Black Channel.
yeah,
And and to and another thing to piggyback off of what you were saying about the it's Guy Tory was social media before social media because like they had a segment on there talking about like the comedians that came up through social media. Like they talked to DC Young Fly,
yeah,
about like how he started doing the vines and then it caught fire. Then he was just like, but like Guy did all that stuff without social media. Like we're talking what look we old enough to remember, like word of mouth. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? You found out stuff through, you know what I'm saying, talking to somebody else, and like that's how you found out about things. And it's
yeah.
just for a guy to be doing it like they had asked Cat Williams. They're like, "Hey, how did you find out about Fat Tuesday?" He said, "How you find out about Jesus?" He said, "People talking about it."
It's stupid, man.
And it's just because think about it. Think about it. We're talking L.A. Chris Tucker heard about this in Atlanta.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? He just got a ticket to fly out there because he
but
heard somebody talking about it.
but just imagine, man, like if what we had now, if we took it to that era of time, imagine what it would have done. Even probably even like bigger and better, even more bigger and better because, like you said, during that era, God told made a lot of things happen without social media. We didn't have social media back in that time, and like you said, this trans this got our way out to Atlanta. Now you talking about LA to Atlanta. And Chris Tucker, like, look, man, I gotta get to LA. Like, I gotta see what's going on at Fat Tuesday. I gotta like get in there. And so you think about how things could have been if what we if the tools that we had now, if we would have had them back then. That was
Yep.
just crazy, man. That
Yep.
was
And
that word.
yeah, and before, because now I'm gonna tell you now because I want you to think about it. I want to know your top three stand-up comedians. So just keep that in your mind. I'm gonna ask you that question here in a minute. So I want you to come together with your top three stand-up comedians. But one thing that was great was to see the full circle of. Okay, well, before I do that, they had a whole like the whole third episode is really about the women that was in the game. And so you got to salute out to them and all of the women that had came through that he had put on, the transgender woman that he had put on, and then you also the other thing that I wanted to mention was the full like I was about to say that full circle of there were comedians that they didn't get as big as like the Martin and the Chris Tuckers and the Bill Bellamy's, all that type stuff. So they named it Get on the Wall. It was all about getting your name on that wall. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? And the one thing that sucked, there was one woman, oh man, I can't remember what her name was, skinny lady.
yeah,
She was like, yo, I had a spot here every week. I hosted it because when Guy got busy writing
yeah.
for all these movies and all this stuff, she ran the club
Right.
on Fat Tuesdays. And her name wasn't even on the wall, which makes no sense. But it was great to see that moment of all of those people who didn't get as big got to get their name on the wall. And I
Yeah,
thought that was so great to see. Um, because like to us, like those people were big. Like Jay Farrell's name went on the wall, which was weird because he got on Saturday Night Live. Um, he was able to have a show, which I thought was a great show. A lot of people didn't really hear about it and see it, but he had got a show on Showtime called White Famous, and I thought it was hilarious. Me,
mhm.
I thought it was funny, but it only got one season. They never picked it up for a second season. But it was great to see everybody get their name on the wall that had something to do with the Comedy Store when it came to Fat Tuesday, because if they did not have Fat Tuesdays, like that club, like I mentioned earlier, that club would have been shut down like
Oh yeah.
years ago. He kept that club afloat. So man, I want to know, not comedians, just stand up comedian. Who are your top three stand up comedians of all time?
Top three. Like not comedians, but stand up.
Stand up, yeah, like not them in the movie, you know what I'm saying, but them doing stand up comedy.
Oh man.
Yeah, see, but it's different. It's
Yeah,
tough.
yeah. See, I really don't have it. To be
Okay,
honest.
now it's really tough to do because either way, because if you only say three names, you're leaving somebody out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm a huge component. I remember the first special I ever saw. The first special, and I think this is why this dude is in my. I'm not gonna go in any order, but the first name I'm gonna mention is because this was the first stand up first stand up special that I saw that I can remember, and it's Eddie Murphy Raw. That was one of the first, and I shouldn't have been watching it at that age, but that was one of the first ones I saw, and I was just like, "Yo, this dude is different." So I would have to put Eddie Murphy in mind because that was really like the first time I was really introduced to stand up comedy,
Okay.
and so I would go him. Another person that I got to mention, and they even had pulled out, they even had a little segment talking about this. And so I got a little story to go along with the second person I mentioned, because so somebody had went out there on Def Comedy Jam, killed it. So this comedian is like, yo, he go up to Kid Capri. It was like, look, every time I say this, I'm gonna say this, and then I want you to just play this beat. And so he go out there, I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. And then kick it. Every time they kick it, y'all don't understand. Hey,
Yeah.
yo, that was one of the funniest shits I've ever seen in my life when Bernie Mac did that.
And
And
but
obviously,
that was his first time. Like
dude,
that's when he first came out. Cause I remember because Bill Bellamy talked about it. And he was
yeah,
like, yo, man, he said, what they doing on this? So he said, shoot, that mother came out there. And when he said that, man, the whole crowd went stupid, man. They went plumb stupid. They was like, oh my God, like this dude is just like That's when everything blew up for Bernie. Bernie is my man, but like hands down, Bernie is my man. If I was gonna go with my top, that he's in my top three.
I
Bernie's
knew I
in,
knew Bernie had to be in there. I knew Bernie had to be in yours.
Bernie's in my
And
top.
and Kings of Comedy is just that's that
Yeah,
that whole set might be like if somebody flew an alien down here and was like, yo, we want you to show just one set. What are you gonna show them? I'm showing them the Kings of Comedy set of Bernie Mac. And I guarantee you gonna laugh. So I would say Bernie Mac is one. And then the other person that I would have to say, oh man, I hate doing this, man, because I'm gonna leave a whole bunch of people out. Like a whole bunch of people is gonna be left out. But if I had to say one person when it comes to stand up, I want to say Martin, but I'm not gonna go Martin. But I might have to go. And I know at this moment right now is a controversial thing to say. Is I might have to go Dave Chappelle, um, because of what he has been doing for the last couple of years, man, for like the last like decade. Like I know a lot of people are mad at him about his last special, about the things that they just feel like he keeps doubling down on this transgender thing. I don't really want to make it about that. I just want to just talk about how Dave Chappelle, what he started doing with his comedy is storytelling, and his storytelling ability and the way he's able to do it, like he's just so funny. And I would have to say him. Like it's hard for me. I mean, like, look, man, there's a lot of comedians that have great sets, man. Richard Pryor had great sets. With Martin, obviously, he hosted Def Comedy Jam. Steve Harvey, he had some good sets, man. Said the Entertainer, like what he was able to do on the stage when it came with Kings of Comedy, man. He got so many requotable things there. And I'm doing all the talking, y'all, because I lost connection with my cousin B. I'm gonna see if he can hop back in here in the next couple of minutes. If not, because I don't really know what's going on with his connection right now. But hopefully, I can get him back on. But what Said did with the Kings of Comedy, man, it was just unreal. Um, DL he did good on that, but obviously to me anyway, Said and Bernie stole the show. Joe Torre he had great sets. Chris Tucker had great sets. And a lot of that, man, was really Def Comedy Jam. Like coming up, in the '90s, and Def Comedy Jam used to come on HBO late at night. It was just it was just different. And my cousin B, he's the comedy person. Like, don't get me wrong, like I love to laugh, you know. So I would watch Def Comedy Jam because it was just funny. But and but I was always more of the drama horror guy when it came to films. So that's why when it comes to comedy, I love reaching out to my cousin B and Scoops because they they watched it with a different kind of ear. Like I just watched it for to get a good laugh in. Like like I can't remember a lot of bits, but there are some people and some things that just stand out. And so I would have to go as far as my top three. I would have to go Eddie Murphy because, like I said, Raw birthed it for me. I can't, but you know what? The thing is, I can't remember if I seen Raw or Delirious first, but both of those specials were just different. Like Eddie Murphy, when it comes to stand up, is just he's just a different animal, man. And just the way that he's just able to imitate people and all of that type stuff, like Eddie Murphy is just unreal. And Bernie Mac was, you think, how do you even come up with this stuff? You know what I'm saying? And my third person, I would have to go Dave Chappelle. I just think that Dave just took comedy to a different level of the storytelling. Now, don't get me wrong, like Richard Pryor was a great storyteller. You know, he told a whole story about how he got so high that he set himself on fire and made jokes about it. You know what I'm saying? And that's like an uncomfortable room to be in because, like, at the time, like, people knew that he set himself on fire because he was high on drugs. And then you go in there and you tell the story about how you got high on drugs. And you made a joke saying when you were on fire, people would get out of your way. Like that, yo, that is one of the most funniest things I've ever heard. Is when he did that. So I would have to go there, man. I see I got B back with me. I kept it rolling, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a professional podcaster. You know what I'm saying? Like I know how to keep talking on this bad boy. But listen, I'm just gonna say that that third person that I chose was Dave Chappelle. So that's why I had to go there. So we know you got one. We know Bernie Mac is one of them. So you was able to come up with two more names. I know it's hard, cause you leave people out. But
I gotta go. Okay, I got Bernie Mac, I got Cat Williams, and uh, I got it's man. I can't think of his name. I was
look,
my man that played in the Fridays.
Chris
Day
Tucker.
Day.
Oh, Mike Epps. Mike Epps.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't seen a lot of Mike Epps stand up. I really haven't. But the Pimp Chronicles Part One, that's yo, listen to me. That might be one of like that's in my top five of comedy specials.
Okay.
What he was able to do on Pimp Chronicles, man. There's so many quotable moments in there, man. Yo, man, listen. Cat Williams he's different.
Yeah.
Like he's different, especially before, he really got heavy into the drugs and the drinking. But like,
Yeah.
man, yo, when he told the story, when he when he told the story of of the weed, he said, man, they're coming up with the crazy names. He said, he said, he said, he said, he said, nigga. He said, nigga. He said, man, he said, this shit right here, nigga. This shit right here, nigga. This shit right here, nigga. He said, this shit called death. He said, what, nigga? He said, what? I'm gonna hit it and die, nigga. He said, nah. He said, once you hit this, you ain't gonna hear shit. Hey, when I tell you, Bob, it's funny every time. But the first time I heard that, yo, I was on the floor, like on the floor, laughing so hard. Yo, my whole stomach. I had a six pack when I was done laughing at that. I don't know why I thought that was so funny, but to me, man, I was dying laughing when I heard that. But
Hey, man, listen. If I had three of them three of them guys in the room, man, I would literally be hurting. They would have to literally take me to the hospital. I'd be laughing so much. Cause they just funny, man. Especially like with Bernie Mac and then Mike Epps with their facial expression when they telling the joke. That's
Yeah.
what get me every time. They facial expressions when they telling the joke.
Like you like the person that get me like that, like facial expressions, like now those people that you said are great. But another person that get me with facial expressions is Darnell Rollins, man. Darnell facial expressions be funny too. Man, Darnell like one of those guys. And this is one thing that you hear about comedians before I let you go is like people think that they're like funny all the time. Like,
Yeah,
some of them like it's a switch for them.
yeah,
But there are some people who are just naturally funny. Like it's just
yeah.
the way that they talk, the way that they carry themselves. To me, Darnell is one of those guys. Like he just funny. Like you know what I mean? Like there ain't. I don't think he's trying to be. I just think that's just the way that he is. Like a guy like Eddie Murphy. Like yeah, he's hilarious. But like I've
He,
seen
he
him
never-
in interviews, and like he just he's like a
yeah,
regular guy.
yeah.
You
He
know,
not
and
like you said. He has that switch. He just turns it off. Like, all right, I'm serious
yeah,
kid.
yeah, and I think that people like Darnell is just like always. I think Chris Tucker's kind of like that. I think even when he's being interviewed, like it's just like some words that he say, like it's just funny.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so yeah, man. Nah, that's a good top three, man. That's a good top three. I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it. Cat Williams is a great one. Cat
yeah.
Williams is a good one. Yeah, man. But before I get you out of here, cuz like always, man, I want you to plug your business and some of the things that you want to do as far as the future of where you want to take your business. So man, shout out Unique Detailing before I get you out of here.
Yeah, man. Well, Brandon Foster, man. I'm the owner of Unique Detailing and More, LLC. I'm out of Greer, South Carolina, and for its expansion, man, I got a lot of things that I do want to do for its expanding, and I didn't notice until my leader my leader sat down with me and when we first did unique detailing, when we was first, getting out the plans, man. And I really appreciate him for that, man. My apostle Gerald Williams. I really appreciate him for that, taking the time out with me to really sit down with me and was like, he kind of put me on game about it because he was just like, and I didn't know this at the time. And he was like, listen, he said, when we would sit down and doing everything, he the one got my first flyer for me and everything, man. So I really, shout out to him, salute him for that. But he told me, he said, listen, he said in this, uh, when you do unique detailing, don't just put yourself in a box. He said, do unique detailing and more. He said, because that way it opens your business up to not just be boxed in with unique detailing. You could do brake jobs, anything pretty much containing to a car. And I was like, man, I didn't think about that. So what we did, me and him both, we unique detailing and more. And so with that, I actually, since I've been in business, I didn't did brake jobs. I didn't had to repair side view mirrors or tail lights for people, man. So I mean, really, for expanding, eventually I'm gonna be doing pretty much anything containing to a car, man, whether uh buying and selling. I've done that where I've bought a car and then I turned around and flipped it and sold it. Uh, I want to get into restoration bills for us like painting And pretty much anything you can name up with a car, man, I want to have my hands in, because I just know that's just gonna be one thing that's gonna be around for a very, very long time.
Yeah, man. Like you've been, y'all, listen to me. This dude been building model cars, man, since we was kids, and he is working. Got a project now. You know what I'm saying? It's a 94 or 95 Accord.
94 Honda Accord, man.
Yeah, yeah. This dude, he's building a 94 Honda Accord right now, y'all. So you doing your thing, cuz man. Like I told you in the beginning, man, I'm proud of you, man. Like, for someone to take a passion that they had, since they was a kid, like you were building model cars to grow up to build cars that actually on the road. You know what I'm saying? So that's always a blessing to see somebody that have a passion about something and they go out and they do something about it. So that's dope, man. That's really, really dope.
Yeah, man, and as far as yourself, man, like I said, and me and you, we've had a lot of conversations about certain things and a lot of things that we got going on. But man, really, I'm really proud of you mostly, man, because of your accomplishments and the things that you're doing with this podcast, man. Like I said, I'm always peeking in on you. I'm always, when you put your stuff out there on Facebook, man, I'm always trying to make sure I share, get the word around, man. And I'm seeing where you took it, where it was, far as yourself, you was just doing it by yourself. And now, you know, rest in peace to Uncle Washington, man. You brung him in and y'all did y'all thing. And then, now it's like you're collabing with other people, and that's what it's about, networking, man, getting out there, collabing with other people that's either doing it bigger than better than you, or trying to come up, trying to get into what you done. And I've seen you put, hey man, listen, this how you do that, you even I'm pretty sure burn people up and everything like that, man. Hey, I salute you in that, man. And I know you got it's more to come. Like I said, don't give up, man. Just keep at it. Eventually, I'm gonna look and you're gonna be another Ti expeditiously, man, podcast, man. Well, you got he throw he's the man for throwing all those big words out there.
Hey, but
He the man for throwing all those big words out there, man.
hey, what he do, but
But for real, man, like I know without a shadow of doubt, man, you're gonna be interviewing Tyler Perry, man, and all these big name people out there, man. But like I said, just keep at it, man. That thing gonna pay off for you. I've told you that over and over again, and I keep saying it. Um, your time gonna come. It's a time, it's a season for everything, and your time is gonna come. Your season is gonna come, and it's gonna go out there, man. You're gonna be able to bring people in, man. You might have your own studio. And I always tell people, man, even in my business, man, I tell people it's not the start of a thing, it's the end of it. And when you start something, I always have an ending in mind. you know, never treat it, even though okay, this is what it is. Treat it like a Fortune $5 million thing, and say, listen, man, I know I've done 100 episodes, but I know one of these episodes is gonna catapult me to a whole nother level, man. People gonna know about you in LA. People gonna know about you in Australia, these big places, man. So, hey, man, just encourage you, man. Keep it going. Keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, I'm always peeking in on you, man, checking you out and all that. And I was kind of like, man, I said, I'm used to your your live things on Facebook.
yeah.
Oh man, like I said, nah, I said, but I'm always peeking in when I see you post something, man. I make sure I share it, man, get it out to whoever on my side of things, man, because you never know. You got people that's probably looking into doing the same thing you're doing and might want to get on and talk about some subjects that you might be expounding on, man. And you just never know, man. You might end up getting connected with somebody and say, hey, man, I know a dude, man, that can put you here, put you there. You just never know. So that's why I always try to encourage you and anybody, man, just keep doing what you're doing, man, because eventually it's gonna pay off.
Man, I truly appreciate those words, cuz, and it's just like I don't even feel right doing live no more without Unc being in front of me, man. Like
Yeah,
I haven't done a live since Unc. You know what I mean? Like that's the last time I did a podcast live on Facebook. Was when Unc was here, man. Miss that dude, man. Like I was just talking to before I let you go, I was just talking to Jamar about that the other day, because me and him we in some talks about some things, and he was just saying like just those podcasts were just different. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
With Uncle Washington, man, and he told me and Scoots both told me, they both was like, yo, like I don't know what you gonna do with the Stolen Time podcast, but it was like whatever it is, it was like this is no disrespect. It was like I won't be a co-host. That was like because Ump was so good, he was so unique at it,
yeah,
nobody can take his place, you
yeah,
know. And that's why, unfortunately, I had to put the Stolen Time podcast to bed, because like Ump was so good and he was so different that nobody else could fill his spot, man. So, but I already had this avenue with 28 minutes or less, so I was like, I'll just continue this, and me and Scoots, we do our thing on Viewers Anonymous, so. But man, I still miss him, man. Like, I still be going back listening to old episodes, man, just to hear his voice, man. That was the one great thing about the Stolen Time podcast is his voice lives on forever, man. I
oh,
can
yeah. I
listen to him
mean,
anytime I want.
and like you said, I for us with me with him, I missed the talks, man. We had conversation. I go by the like, what's up? Like we'll sit down and just have casual conversations, man. But the thing about him that I love the most, that I respected and that I love the most, man, that he didn't have a negative bone in his body, man. When it came to what he was always positive, you know.
Hmm.
And sometimes for me, I needed that. You know what I'm saying? Like I could go over there, man, and just like sometimes you just need that positivity, like you need that person to tell you, even though you didn't really see it in yourself, but for
Hmm.
him to see it in you and tell you his thoughts about you and how he felt about you as a person. And he was just like, listen, it's like, man, keep doing what you're doing, man. You're an awesome dad. He was just that positive person, man. And when he left this earth, man, I was like, dang. I was like, I missed it. You know what I'm saying? Because even though in yourself you feel like, man, sometimes especially as a man, or as a father, as a husband, or whatever, sometimes you feel like, dang, man, I feel like, man, I feel like I'm failing my family. But when you got around him, it was just always positivity, man. He was just always that person. And so for me, he was that he was that medicine for me. You know what I'm saying? He was that medicine for me. Like when I just needed when I needed a positive person in my corner, or to say, man, I need to go see I need that medicine. You know what I'm saying? I need that pick me up. And he was just that person for me. He was just that person, like, hey, you know, man, he's like, oh man, I can't wait to this, and I can't wait till you do this, and I can't wait till you do that, man. It's gonna be awesome. And I was like, man, and when he died, man, that was just like, oh man, but he was that wisdom person, man, that knowledgeable person for you, man, that can give you that knowledge, you that wisdom about certain things. And yeah, I missed it, I really do. I missed it. But he was just a cool person all the way around the table. We would laugh, we would laugh about certain things, thing, he always, give you his growing up and the things that he, experienced and stuff like that. And when he would sit there and he would talk about them things, I would listen. And I'm like, dang, you did, yeah, yeah, and all that. So yeah, man. I mean, those are just some of the things that I miss about man, that I'm gonna miss about him. And man, I don't, like I said, I know y'all did y'all thing on the podcast, man. I'm pretty sure, he gave you that knowledge, that wisdom about certain things and everything like that. But yeah, I really miss him, man, because he was just one of those people, man, that you liked it to be around because he never had a negativity bone in his body about nothing. He was just always positive. And one of the other attributes about him that I love so much, man, is that he was always helping somebody. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Like, you would think, with him, it's just be like, man, when you gonna, do for yourself? He was just always helpful. Like, well,
Yep.
if you need me, just call me or come by, I'll help you, you know. And he was just always helping people, man. He was, even though, his situations, he was still helping people. And I think out of all the other things, that's what I really loved about him the most, man. He wasn't that selfish person.
Yep.
And one of the things that always stuck out to me that he always said, he said, sometimes, you know, uh, you get past the baton and it's your turn.
Yep.
You gotta, it's your turn now. And he said, and I was like, man, but that stuck out to me and that stays with me. It really does. It stayed with me because that was his thing. That's what he said. He'll put it. Said, sometimes, hey, you gotta pick up the baton. Sometimes the baton get handed to you and it's your turn. And I was like, wow. So yeah,
Yep.
man, I'm gonna miss him too, man. I think about it from time to time.
Yeah. I do as well, man. I do as well. And like, but close that out, man. Like we used to, we would do a 2 hour pod, and we'll talk for a whole another hour
Oh
before
yeah,
he left to go home.
he was a talker.
He was a talker, but he definitely was. But cuz man, I definitely appreciate you coming on, man. I know, I just gotta say it. You know how I feel. But I just gotta let the people know, what I'm saying, that I appreciate it, man. And and I want to shout out to everybody that's a part of the team, when it comes to Scoots Bronson, JD, uh E. Carter, Siege, what I'm saying? Cause we're building a little something over here, some stuff that we're working on, man. Also, man, Casey, he's working on some things on music wise, still for the podcast and everything. Um, but I appreciate it, man. You got any last words before we get up out of here?
No, man, I don't. I'm just, hey, man, like I said, when how we do, man. When we get together, we chop it up, we laugh, we do whatever, man. And I mean, I know we don't really talk as much because I know, you got things going on, I got things going on. But when we always come together, man, it's always laughter and
Yep.
kicking up on old times and just talking about where we at, what we're doing, what projects we got going on or whatever, man. But yeah, it's always it's always a blessing to be on with you, man. And I just thank you for allowing me to come on, man. Really,
Hey, man, ain't no big deal, man. Man, the next funny thing I see, boy, I'm gonna have to hit you back up. But hey, I'm gonna need you on the pod, man. I'm gonna need you on the pod.
oh yeah,
But yeah, so I'm gonna get up out of here, y'all. We're gonna get up out of here. This was episode 75 of the 28 Minutes or Less podcast, and we out.
peace.